The Empire's defeat sparked the collapse of Palpatine's rule, and swiftly the government which held such a tight grip over the galaxy realised without their Emperor there was no succession plan. Welcome to Imperials Explained, and in this video we'll look at the slow decline of what remained of the Galactic Empire as it splintered into different factions from Star Wars legends. Following the defeat at Endor in 4 ABY, Grand Vizier Saint Pestige immediately seized control of the Galactic Empire on Coruscant. Pestige did not possess his master's skill and use of the Force, which Palpatine had used to hold his empire together. Many high-ranking Imperial Moffs, Admirals, Generals such as Blitzer Haas, Truton Teradok, Zinj, Ardus Kane and Xander Delvardos began to ignore orders from Imperial Center on Coruscant. They did not respect Pestige as a capable Imperial leader, and so instead, these and other Imperials swiftly locked down their territory, which they carved out across the galaxy. Blitzer Haas took his Imperial Navy task force to the Deep Core region, where he claimed a number of worlds around the world of Callista 4 and established his kingdom named Zero Command. Grand Moff Ardus Kane created his own mini-imperial state called the Pentastar Alignment from the Velkar Free Commerce Zone, and Warlord Zinj secured the largest area of Imperial territory, stretching from the corporate sector deep into the inner rim along the Hydean Way. However, there were many other power-hungry Imperials who held territory for a period of time, such as Admiral Terranul Screed and Grand Moff Nivers. However, these Imperials over the next 8 years were either toppled by the New Republic forces or defeated by a rival warlord. An Imperial civil war started between the Imperial warlords, in which sporadic infighting would continue until 12 ABY. In the year 5 ABY, the new Imperial leader Saint Pestige struggled to hold down any real power, and after 6 months he fled Coruscant to strike a deal with the New Republic. Meanwhile, Ysanne Isard, who had secretly been working against Pestige, took control of what was left of the Galactic Empire and removed the leading members of the Imperial ruling council. Saint Pestige was assassinated on Citric 4 by Dalek Krenel, who declared himself an Imperial warlord over the system. However, the New Republic wanted to make an example of Krenel to other would-be warlords, and swiftly targeted Krenel to liberate the wealthy Citric hegemony region. While Isard seized control of the Galactic Empire for herself, having removed all of her rivals on the Imperial ruling council, a collective body of Grand Moffs formed to create an opposition to Isard. These were called the Central Committee of Grand Moffs. Disregarding her authority, the committee then formed an alliance with the three-eyed warlord Triocleus, who was falsely claiming to be the son of Palpatine. However, in the end, Triocleus was eventually assassinated by a New Republic droid. The New Republic launched several campaigns to claim Imperial-controlled territory, with important victories against Imperial forces at Toragia, Pindra, Kola, Birana, and Milagro, which damaged the Empire's ability to control the Inner Rim region. Only Warlord Zinj in 5 ABY had seen a victory against the New Republic forces, after defeating them at Corsin inside the Greater Pleuroid Cluster. Lord Shadowspawn, also known as Lord Kronel, led a dangerous Imperial faction from the Inner Rim world of Minda. Concerned about Lord Shadowspawn's dark side abilities, the New Republic launched a campaign led by Luke Skywalker to successfully defeat the dark side warlord's forces. Later that year, in an attempt to attack territory inside the Iriado Authority, led by the Imperial warlord Xander Delvardos, the New Republic committed forces to remove the warlord from the region. A victory at Sullust was quickly followed by a succession of further victories, which eventually forced Delvardos to retreat into the Deep Core. On Kashyyyk, Lando Calrissian, Rogue Squadron, and Admiral Jean Lakbar successfully helped to incite a revolution among the Wookiee populace, in which Imperial rule was defeated, as Governor Dark and Grand Admiral Pakati Sin were all killed during the battle. The year 6 ABY began with a further erosion of Imperial territory inside the Inner Rim, fueling the New Republic's plan to encircle the core worlds in order to gain complete control of the Inner Rim and Coruscant. Minor Imperial warlords such as Admiral Kermin and Moff Pontriac were forced to flee the Inner Rim after suffering damaging defeats to their forces. However, a faction led by Admiral Terran Rodgris, with the help of the 181st Imperial Fighter Wing, successfully defended control of the shipyards at Bilbringi from the attacking New Republic's 3rd Battle Group. This would only serve as a short-term victory, as a relentless New Republic campaign continued against Imperial forces situated around several worlds inside the colony's region. A further defeat for the Empire at Boreleus paved the way for the New Republic to mount an invasion of Coruscant and remove Ysanne Isard from power. Despite stern resistance from Imperial forces led by Grand General Melkor Brashin, there was a decisive liberation of Coruscant from Imperial rule. Ysani Isar was forced to flee Coruscant to the inner rim trade world of Thyphera aboard her executive-class dreadnought Lusankya, along with a sizable Imperial force. By the beginning of 7 ABY, Ysani Isar had proclaimed herself as an Imperial warlord, as the legitimate ruler of Thyphera, but her reign was cut short by the New Republic's Rogue Squadron after a period known as the Back to War was ended, and Isard's Imperial force was defeated as she fled into hiding, presumed dead. Within months, trouble was breaking out in the Outer Rim territories when Warlord Zinj discovered the secret world called New Alderaan. Zinj's Imperial forces devastated the planet. Within weeks, further victories for Zinj over the New Republic at Graven 7 made the Warlord their #1 target to remove. The New Republic's Wraith Squadron retaliated and successfully attacked to disrupt Zinj's operations at worlds known as Zyam 6 and Zartum, which led up to the Battle of Telasi, where Zinj's forces tasted their first real defeat to the New Republic. Another subsequent victory over Zinj's forces happened at the Battle of Essian, where the Star Destroyer Impeccable was ambushed by a Wraith Squadron and destroyed. A series of defeats followed for Zinj, at Imperial worlds including Halmad, Lavisar, but also in open space at the battle for the Razor's Kiss. Zinj's forces were steadily taking losses on a regular basis throughout the rest of 7 ABY, leading up to the largest battle and Zinj's eventual death at the Battle of Dathomir in the latter weeks of 8 ABY. With Warlord Zinj defeated, the New Republic had overcome a major threat to the stability of the galaxy, and Zinj's massive territory was suddenly there for the taking. Seeking to neutralize the danger from various Imperial Warlord threats, the New Republic turned its attention to Moff Zahn, the ruler of the backwater Cathal sector. After several skirmishes at battles throughout the period against Moff Zahn's Imperial forces, Zahn was finally killed at the Battle of Cathal to eventually liberate the sector. Sometime during the final weeks of 8 ABY, Grand Admiral Thrawn raided the Traquise system in a hit and fade attack with a single Star Destroyer in order to test his forces. Within the same short period, the Star Destroyer Stormhawk also attacked the planet Zayn, wiping out New Republic personnel. Thrawn had studied the New Republic's reaction to his recent attacks on the borderland regions and determined their reaction patterns. Early in 9 ABY, Imperial victories for Thrawn were frequent, as the New Republic forces could not cope with Thrawn's shrewd tactics. However, Thrawn suffered his first major setback at the Battle of Katana, but the New Republic's victory, however, was a hollow one. It was discovered during the battle that only 15 of the Katana fleet had been destroyed, out of the 200 dreadnoughts that were still left. Worse was the knowledge that Thrawn's stormtrooper forces were largely made up of clones. This led the New Republic leaders to fear that a new wave of the Clone Wars was coming, and that this time Coruscant would be on the losing side. A top priority soon turned to the location of Thrawn's cloning storehouse. Thrawn proved time and again the most formidable Imperial the New Republic had faced since defeating the Empire at Endor. The siege of Coruscant was a major warning of how much Thrawn was a threat, and although Thrawn was forced to retreat, the New Republic were later defeated at the Battle of Keteris to strengthen the Imperial presence. The Battle of Bilbringi was the final battle of Thrawn's campaign, as his unforeseen resurgence came to an end with the Grand Admiral's assassination by his own Noghraid bodyguard, Ruka, who had defected to the New Republic. Captain Gilad Pellaeon, Thrawn's second-in-command, knew his limitations as well as those of his command, and ordered immediate retreat. Although there was a lull of Imperial activity after Thrawn's death, in 10 ABY several concurrent Imperial coalition campaigns began with the victory at the Battle of Cathalius. The veteran Imperial commander General Pragi was so successful, it prompted the New Republic to expect a new attempt to take Coruscant. Several other timely Imperial attacks from the deep core took place at Corellia, Drea, Jiu, and Orinda. All these attacks were planned in the lead-up to Operation Shadowhand by the reborn Palpatine. Multiple Imperial victories followed as the unified Imperial warlords supported the return of their Emperor. It was the Emperor's plan to conquer the core worlds in the lead-up to the second successive attack on Coruscant. The huge unified Imperial forces were too strong for the New Republic's planetary defense, which forced Mon Mothma to evacuate. The Imperial forces swiftly took control, but once more infighting between military, government, and political leaders broke out into an Imperial civil war. The New Republic took full advantage of this and mounted a counterstrike, which eventually forced the surviving Imperials to retreat to the deep core to join the reborn Palpatine, situated on his new Imperial capital world of Biss. However, the reborn Palpatine wished to punish the world of Mon Calamari for supporting the New Republic during his previous reign. he unleashed his new superweapons, the World Devastators. These deadly machines were able to recycle an entire world's surface to create weapons of war. Fortunately for the New Republic, the droid R2-D2 acquired the World Devastator's central codes from the Dark Empire's Luke Skywalker, who was now Palpatine's apprentice. He defied him by providing R2-D2 with the codes to turn the World Devastators against each other, saving the planet. The New Republic, hungry to take the fight to the Dark Empire, the Battle of Pinnacle Base was fought between the New Republic and the forces of the reborn Palpatine over the Republic base at Pinnacle Moon. While the space battle erupted, Luke turned from the dark side of the Force to fight the Emperor in a duel in which Luke won, but an enraged Palpatine summoned a Force storm which almost decimated the New Republic's fleet. Luke used his Force power to disrupt the Emperor's connection to this power, causing his Force storm to spin out of control and begin destroying the Eclipse, killing the Emperor's clone body. However, Palpatine's spirit survived, eventually transferring his essence to a new clone body. Pinnacle Base and its entire planet of Dososha 5 was later destroyed by a single projectile from the reborn Palpatine's new superweapon, the Galaxy Gun. In 11 ABY, after a period of Dark Empire's victories, including New Alderaan, a strike team led by Lando Calrissian struck the Imperial flagship at the Eclipse II. During the battle, Luke Skywalker fought against Emperor Palpatine, whose last clone body was succumbing to an accelerated aging due to genetic tampering by the treacherous Sovereign Protector Karnal Jax. A fierce duel resulted in the final death of Palpatine and his dark side adepts. Calrissian succeeded in sabotaging the vessel's automated hyperdrive engines. This set the vessel on a course for the Imperial throne world of Biss in the deep core, where it would exit hyperspace at the precise location of the Galaxy Gun, another of the Emperor's superweapons. The resulting explosion destroyed the two massive weapons of war, while the planet Biss was destroyed by a loose projectile. This devastating blow to any surviving Imperial forces effectively ended the Dark Empire and splintered the Imperials into several factions, causing another Imperial civil war once again. In the aftermath rose Karnal Jax, a member of the Emperor's Royal Guard and a aspiring Sith Lord himself, who played a part in the Emperor's death, which was all part of his bid to become the new Emperor. Jax quickly established himself as the Emperor of what was left of the dying Galactic Empire, and was now centered on the Outer Rim world of Ord Cantrell. Jax led a 12-person executive body known as the Imperial Interim Ruling Council, also nicknamed the Council of Blood. In contrast to the Galactic Empire, it allowed aliens to serve on the Council. The Crimson Empire, like the Dark Empire before it, had the Galactic Emperor as the head of state. To remove any of Palpatine's loyalist rivals to threaten his claim to the Imperial throne, Jax ordered the Emperor's Royal Guard on Rincor to be killed. The attack was successful apart from a sole guardsman who survived the incident, called Kir Kanos. Kanos vowed to avenge Palpatine's death, and later killed Karnal Jax on Rincor in a fight known as the Duel in the Squall. The death of Karnal Jax left the Imperial Ruling Council on Ord Cantrell looking to elect a new leader. Bur Nolid briefly ruled before being assassinated, leading to the council electing Xandal Caravis, but was swiftly executed by Kir Kanos for his part in helping Karnal Jax's plot to sabotage Emperor Palpatine's clone bodies. The Republic's victory at Ord Cantrell would be the end of the Crimson Empire faction, and the remaining Imperial warlords recognised no central authority and continued on their own internal civil war. Later that year, Supreme Warlord Blitzer Hask, High Admiral Truton Teradok, and Superior General Sander Delvadis became the worst offenders for infighting until Natasi Dala's drive for the Imperial unification would result in the re-establishment of the Imperial Remnant State in 12 ABY. In my next video, I will continue the Star Wars legend story of the unified Imperial Remnant and beyond. Thanks for watching, and as always, long live the Empire.